please come forward. It's very touching bhajan composed by Srila Thakur upon hearing of the departure of his beloved associates. Captures the mood for today's Viraha Mahotsav. Viraha means separation. Mahotsav means great festival. Time of many mixed emotions, as Narottam Das Thakur is describing himself. I will enter into the fire, beat my head against the rocks. Due to the pain of separation from all these great souls. It's both a paradox, how separation from devotees, which in his conversation with Lord Chaitanya, when Mahaprabhu asked Ramananda Rai, what is the most unbearable suffering? Ramananda Rai said, other than separation from devotees, I know of no unbearable suffering. On the one hand, it's the deepest suffering. On the other hand, we see, as with the departure of Bhishma, showers falling from the sky, with festivities in upper worlds. It's a paradox how and there is a parallel between Vipralambha Seva of the Brijavasas and Krishna leaves Mathura and Dwarka, and the viraha of devotees feeling separation from their guru. There's a parallel. Paradoxical that the deepest anguish is termed, as is Vipralambha Seva, the highest ecstasy. And it's also the deepest theological truth. It's time to contemplate what are the proper emotions, attitudes, actions, and understanding of this event. Right in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Narada Muni, after he consoled Srila Vyasadeva, praised Srila Vyasadeva for his great accomplishments, compiling the 4 Vedas, adding the 5th Veda, Mahabharata, Puranas, Pasas. And he praised him, what a great service you've done for the world. But yet, you yourself are dissatisfied. Yesterday admitted, yes. And Narada gave the answer answer and solution, because you have failed to write one Shastra which specifically proclaims the glories of the holy name, pastimes, and associates of Lord Krishna. After which you compile the Srimad Bhagavatam. And in the first canto, Srila Narada Muni tells his own story. You know, how he was the son of a maidservant. And because she served the Bhaktivedantas during Chaturmasya, and Narada assisted. And he said, because I was very well behaved and devotional towards them, they blessed me. And because of their blessings, their instructions stayed with me. So then, when his mother departed, he headed to the north. Alone, traveling through many villages and forests and mountains and valleys, finally coming to a deep, dark, dense forest filled with poisonous snakes and ferocious animals. And being hungry and thirsty and exhausted, he drank from the lake and sat down beneath the banyan tree to meditate, as he had been instructed by his gurus, those Bhaktivedantas. And in his meditation, when his heart blossomed like a lotus, Lord Krishna appeared within his heart. And Narada was so thrilled in ecstasy that he lost awareness of himself and the Lord. So ecstatic, and then the Lord disappeared. And Narada jumped up in grief, anguish, and, in his own words, great depression, that the form of the Lord had left him. And he tried everything to once again have that blessed darshan. But it's not a mechanical process. The Lord reveals himself of his own sweet will. But after the Lord disappeared, he spoke. Narada, I regret to inform you that you'll not have my darshan again in this life. I revealed myself to you, and then withdrew that vision to increase your hankering, purify your heart, and enhance your love. And yet we see that the Lord continued to converse with Narada in sound. Sacred sound vibration. So when Srila Prabhupada departed this world, he prepared us by giving us Narada's story in the first canto, much more elaborately in the fourth canto, the story of Puranjana, culminating in he becomes Vidarbhi, marries Layadwaj. The analogy of the guru-disciple relationship. When the Layadwaj reached his final years, he divided his kingdom amongst his sons, which means when the disciples grow up, Guru distributes responsibilities of his mission amongst them so that he can retire for Nirjan Bhajan and writing. And in that forest where Vidarbhi, the perfect disciple, who accompanies Guru in his later mission, found that his body had grown cold. And she was lamenting alone in that forest. And that mystery Brahman appeared to her and said, "Who are you? Whose wife, daughter are you? And who's this man who's departed for whom you were lamenting so bitterly?" And she said, "This is my Guru." And I left alone. And then that mystery Brahman consoles her. "Don't you remember that you've had an eternal friend who you've consulted so many times in the past, but then you forgot. We're like two swans swimming in the same Manasa lake. But as of now, we are far, far from home. So in the separation from Srila Prabhupada, we have an opportunity to see him in the light of separation, which reveals many things we did not realize in his Bhakti form when he was physically present. So why did the mystery Brahmin in the Paranjana story was Paramatma, who came before the Darby. And Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in his commentary asks, why didn't the Lord reveal himself to her? And then he gives the answer. She was not sufficiently elevated and purified to see Krishna. However, the serious resolution to please Guru is tantamount to meeting the Lord in his instructions, his Guru Bani. And practically speaking, if you really love somebody and you're always thinking, how would they like me to act? And what would they want me to do? And how should I do things in a way pleasing to him? You're going to feel his presence quite tangibly. So much more so in the Guru-disciple relationship, where the Guru lives forever in his. Srila Prabhupada wrote that in the title page of his books. He lives forever in his Vani, and those who follow his way live with him there eternally. And Srila Prabhupada is the perfect example of that. First instruction he heard from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati to preach in the West, he took it to heart as his life and soul, and was blessed with the empowerment to fulfill that desire of Guru Maharaj. And in his concluding words to Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srila Prabhupada says, I still consider my Guru Maharaj to be always present with me by his words, his Vani, guiding me from within. And this is more than a poetic metaphor, because Paramatma is not alone. He has his entourage, his associates. Foremost being Sri Guru, his outer manifestation. So, in our Guru-disciple relationships, if we take Gurudev's Vani as our life and soul, we will find how, as in the case of Narada in his own testimony, he will continue to communicate and guide us and inspire us in the form of transcendental sound. He reasons ill who tells that Vaishnava is God. Living still in sound. Vaishnavas die to live in their life is spreading the holy name. Thank you, Srila Prabhupada. All glories to his glorious.
Srila Prabhupada ki.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. All glories to Prabhupada. Yeah, thank you just said, taking shelter is Vani, his instructions. I remember very clearly November 14, 77. I was in New York State. I was with Kamavati. We were on a farm. And I had written a letter to Prabhupada in 76 describing our farm. And we were in association with the Buffalo Temple at the time. And I sent Prabhupada a whole bunch of pictures and about our valiant attempt to establish a self-sufficient farm for the temple in Buffalo. Anyway, we asked him for his blessings and that we were living alone there, and if we could just get one family to come, we felt we could be successful there. And, as it came to pass, Srila Prabhupada left his body before anything could really start to develop. And I was waiting with bated breath for him to come. He said, if I am well enough to travel, I'm going to go to Gita Nagari, and I'm going to show you all how to live simply on the land. So I was waiting for that moment, which never came. And so my whole world at that time just collapsed in a heap. I mean, I can't even describe to you the severity of the situation, but the farm failed. I lost my family, and I had to start, trying to crawl back and continue my service. So, by Krishna's unbelievable grace, I was able to do that. And so, I realized that Srila Prabhupada really didn't leave, okay? He didn't go. He's, like Maharaj just said, he's in our hearts. And so all these years that have transpired since that day, I have, been depending on Prabhupada for my daily work, what to do, how to do it. And, every day we read aloud. I read to my wife Srila Prabhupada's words, and, this gives us the strength to go on. His wonderful words has given us the will to try to carry on and to bring his real dream into reality. He wanted these farms to be successful. I can give you one quick quote. He said, Krishna has arranged that these demons, they're going to all come together on the war field in this third war, and they're going to finish themselves. He said, all these demons will be finished. And today, we are having an election of these dogs that are going to elect another dog, which will continue this incredible descent into hell. These leaders, they are misleaders. They are denying the citizens of this planet the opportunity to develop their spiritual life and have a chance to go back to Godhead. All they want is to increase the sense gratification of the citizens and keep them in the darkness of ignorance. Yes, I have never voted for any one of these presidents. They, Prabhupada said, aren't even qualified to be bandies, street sweepers. They're not even qualified for that. And they're being posted at the highest level of government. And the true luminaries are kept pushed into oblivion. The great souls are not being given an opportunity to flourish. So just the other day, I was riding with my wife in the vehicle, and I just came out of my mouth this little thing. I'll just say, I said, our day will come when their day is done. So let us pray that Krishna will give us the opportunity to rise up and give this world a chance to go back to Godhead instead of this royal road to hell, which everybody's on now. All glories to you, Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
So, of course, I have to say a few words glorifying Srila Prabhupada because he's actually, we can't even imagine the level of divineness and glory and all that Srila Prabhupada deserves. We know he's a Shakti avatar, and actually, now that all these different biographies are coming out, I'm just like, blown away. Srila Prabhupada's itinerary for the few years that he took to establish ISKCON. Just a few thoughts. One thing, I've been listening to a lot of classes out of in 72, 74, and in Bombay and Vrindavan and Delhi. And so Prabhupada is very much, his classes are filled with philosophy and information. So mostly when Prabhupada came here and the reporter asked, why did you come? And he said, I have come to teach you what you have forgot. And it's a fact, in this Kali Yuga, we're so covered over. Again and again in these classes, I'm hearing Prabhupada say, human form of life is for tapasya. The human form of life is for tapasya. You are not your body. And then he says, and I can relate to this now, in old age there are so many complaints. The body really does start to break down. And then Prabhupada gave us his final lesson as he laid on his bed, and he said, don't think this won't happen to you. So now that I'm reaching that stage, it's kind of heavy. But there, Prabhupada, he made it a point to be a personal example, to help us understand what to do and how to approach that time. So we're just so fortunate. Prabhupada, I wrote, because the human form of life is for tapasya. Unfortunately, here in America, we're taught to grab for all the gusto. So for myself, I do have to constantly beat my mind in the morning with a shoe and at night with a broom because it wants to, pursue this happiness that America feels we should be doing. But actually, the human form of life is for tapasya, and I don't know any better example of that than Srila Prabhupada, because if you read these biographies and learn what he did, he didn't stop for a minute, and he did things that were off the charts. So obviously, Krishna most definitely was helping him. It's just amazing how quickly Srila Prabhupada established ISKCON. I mean, there he was in New York, and that year we're registering the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, you know. But he had such a vision, and I am just very, very grateful that I'm allowed to be part of that vision, and I'm very, very grateful that Srila Prabhupada did give me his causeless mercy, because I don't deserve anything, but I do want to definitely praise you, Srila Prabhupada. You were such a wonderful example to all of us. Your firm determination and faith in carrying out the order of your spiritual master, and then how much you sacrificed traveling around the world for so many years to bring this knowledge to the people of the planet. Thank you, Srila Prabhupada.
Srila Prabhupada ki.
Hare Krishna. For me personally, this day is a mixture of extreme emotions, high, low, fluctuating back and forth. Just a quick reflection on one of the statements. The older I get, the younger Prabhupada looks. Oh, Krishna. So for me today, this is it reawakens my experiences from the actual day of Srila Prabhupada's departure, when I feel just intense and great separation from him. And I just feel the greatest sense of loss. And I begin thinking, how can my life continue? How can I continue my very existence? And what reason do I have to live if Srila Prabhupada is not here to guide us, to guide this movement? And how can we continue to serve, unable to receive the words from His divine grace, words of encouragement, words of guidance, of direction, of loving chastisement? And why should I even continue to breathe, to eat, to sleep, even to exist in this world without you, Srila Prabhupada, our eternal guide and spiritual master? And sometimes I can't even imagine how life can go on without these things. In fact, actually, for a devotee, it can't. Because for a devotee, the association of the service to our eternal spiritual master is a very life and soul. There's nothing that is more important. The words of the spiritual master, they carry us from low to high, from the depths of depression and despair, up to a level that we can't even describe. Without you, Srila Prabhupada, as our guide, our father, the benefactor, our teacher, our ever well-wisher, the friend of the poor, the benefactor of the ocean of mercy, and our Lord and Master of the devotees. He's departed from this earthly realm, left behind this mortal coil, and seemingly left us bereft of His guidance and His love. But this is just I hesitate to use the word illusion, but it's like that. Because for the sincere disciple and follower, the spiritual master never actually leaves us. Although, simultaneously, we don't have the opportunity to go hear directly from Him, to pose questions to Him and hear and receive His direct guidance. These things come indirectly. So while experiencing the deep, dark depths of loss and sorrow, a ray of light suddenly appears. Dim and distant at first, but it gradually illumines from without and from within, just like the sun rising in the morning. And it begins to show us where we are and what is around us. In the same way, the words and guidance coming from the spiritual master, probably this is a torchlight of knowledge. So with this light coming through the spiritual master, from the Vedas, from Krishna, we can see our actual position, we can see our relationship to what is around us in this material world and within the spiritual world. And we can get guidance from these words, from the spiritual master, so that we can return back home, back to Godhead. So Srila Prabhupada, well, Bhaktivinoda Thakur has been mentioned earlier today. He wrote, "He reasons ill or said that Vaishnavas die when they are living still and sound." Srila Prabhupada, you wrote and taught us that I will live forever in my books. And his books includes his lectures, his room conversations, and like that. So if I simply search sincerely, I will find Srila Prabhupada's presence. I will find his association hidden within the books, the lectures, and so on, coming from Srila Prabhupada. And through those, he will reveal himself, his divine love, his divine grace becomes manifest, again, both within and without. And accompanied that divine grace, that divine love, that they're accompanied by enthusiasm, the divine grace, and they're led by the holy names of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada, please do not let me wander astray, bereft of you. I pray that always keep me under the shade of your lotus feet. His divine grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you for stopping.
I wanted to express my deep gratitude to Srila Prabhupada for letting an undeserving person as myself be his disciple. And I wanted to share the wonderful pastimes of what prompted Srila Prabhupada to do his morning walks. This is from the Leelamrita, Brahmananda. Prabhupada had a serious stroke on Memorial Day weekend when everyone had left New York City. Prabhupada couldn't function. He didn't want to bring him to a hospital. We didn't want to bring him to a hospital. So I called my family doctor, but he was out of town. I started making random calls, but everyone was out of town for the weekend. Ultimately, an old Jewish doctor came to see Prabhupada. The devotees were walking around barefooted, wearing jeans and t-shirts, chanting. We had no furniture, just a carpet. The doctor couldn't figure out what was going on. Meanwhile, Prabhupada was very sick. It took the doctor a long time to understand what was going on, what to speak of examining Prabhupada with a stethoscope and this and that. Afterwards, we asked, "What's wrong?" He said, "I think the old man prays too much." We said, "Oh yeah?" "Okay," the doctor said. "He's got to get out, he's got to get some exercise." Prabhupada could hear him from the other room. In the morning walks, we should go to the park for a walk. Then the doctor left. Eventually, Prabhupada went to the hospital. When he came out, we took him to a rented house on the seashore in New Jersey, where he recovered. One day he announced, "Now I will take a morning walk." The doctor said something valuable. We thought this guy was nuts. Prabhupada said, no, he has given a good instruction. I will take that up. Prabhupada proceeded to take a morning walk, and Prabhupada always took that morning walk, no matter what his condition, what his health. When Prabhupada was in a hotel in Switzerland, it was snowing. Prabhupada couldn't go outside for his morning walk, so he took it to the hotel corridors, walking and chanting just as if he were outside. When Prabhupada and all of us were injured in the automobile accident in Mauritius, we had aches and pains, but the next morning we went on his morning walk. Prabhupada follows that doctor's instructions. In every aspect of his life, Srila Prabhupada taught us, set an example for us. He told us and showed us by his example how important it is to take care of your health. And then the next thing I have to read is by Sachi Mata. She asked me to read this. Dear Srila Prabhupada, please accept my most humble, prostrated obeisances. All glories to your lotus feet. Today is the observance of your disappearance from the material plane. I remember this day in 1977 with great sadness as my husband and I were eagerly awaiting your arrival in Puerto Rico to take initiation from you. When we heard the news, this deep sadness overtook my soul. I felt a huge emptiness in my heart. However, if I had been a more enlightened devotee, I would have taken shelter in the fact that although we would all be deprived of your physical association, bhakti, we would always have your teachings, your instructions, your presence, through your words, Vani. Unfortunately, as many devotees also encountered, it was a trial of faith in Krishna consciousness to keep to the path without falling so far behind. Due to sadhu sangha and the kindness of very compassionate Vaishnavas, we did finally get initiated and continue our spiritual journey. So today and every day, Srila Prabhupada, I thank you for being the anchor, the jewel, the treasure, and the link that connects us to Krishna. No matter what, the spiritual master is always present, and although you have physically departed for 47 years, we can always reach out and get your mercy by following your instructions and being enlivened by your inspiration. Thank you, dear Srila Prabhupada. Please always engage me in your mission to make the whole world Krishna conscious. Your servant, Sachimata. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Nam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Guruvani Pracharne Nirvisesha Sunyavaya Sucharas. Krishna. So, Srila Prabhupada was talking to his disciples one time and he was explaining that in his life, every 11 years something auspicious happened. So in 1922, Srila Prabhupada was dragged by his friend to meet Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And as he probably was bowing down, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, "You are intelligent young man, you should go and preach Krishna consciousness to the Western world." And at that time, Prabhupada was Paula Gandhi. He objected. He put his argument before Bhaktisiddhanta that we should become an independent nation. Who was going to listen to us? Bhaktisiddhanta smashed his argument. Prabhupada said, "I was defeated, but I was very happy." Because Prabhupada was considered a leader amongst his classmates, and they figured if Prabhupada approved this sadhu, then their position would be strong. So, of course, Prabhupada felt that, yes, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is the right person to spread the Chaitanya's movement, and in my heart, I have accepted him as my spiritual master. Prabhupada will have to explain that the accepting of the spiritual master is an internal thing. But 11 years later, 1933, marked the time when Srila Prabhupada accepted Prabhupada officially as his disciple. And as a preliminary to that, Prabhupada's famous time when he was on Parikram with Bhaktisiddhanta and Vrindavan and all the devotees were going to see the deities, and Prabhupada decided, no, I'm going to go see more deities. I want to hear from Bhaktisiddhanta. So Bhaktisiddhanta recognized that. He likes to hear. And so when his name was recommended for initiation, Bhaktisiddhanta said, yes, I've marked it. He likes to hear. And Prabhupada, did he hear? He heard that what he heard was to become, a missionary, to push out Krishna consciousness to the world. So in 1944, the next 11 years, Prabhupada began his Back to Godhead magazine. He was, not only did he write it, but he struggled to get it printed, going to Delhi, alone, with no money, getting promises from the printer to print it. At one point, he was so behind the payment. He said, Babu, you must give me something. I can't continue printing with no payment. And Prabhupada said, don't worry, it'll happen. So then, of course, Prabhupada personally went out and distributed Back to Godhead magazines. It wasn't like he just was an author. He went out and tried to distribute, and people sitting in tea stalls, or famous story, Prabhupada getting gored by a bull on book distribution. He was the first book distributor. And Back to Godhead magazine is a very prominent feature of the Hare Krishna movement, at least when I joined. We used to go out with stacks of Back to Godhead magazines and distribute them. So that was a backbone. Prabhupada said he wanted to be the backbone of the Hare Krishna movement, to become a magazine like Life Magazine. 11 years later, 1955, Prabhupada was having all kinds of dreams. It's probably horrible dreams. What were the horrible dreams? Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati come to him in the dream, please. He says, you come with me. You come take sannyas. And those dreams were coming. And Srila Prabhupada, in the middle of the night when those dreams would happen, it was described by Mula Prakriti, he would run up the stairs. He was living with his godbrother was living with him. Srila Maharaj was living upstairs. And Prabhupada at 1 o'clock in the morning, knock on the door. What's going on? What do you want? Well, I just had this dream. I must take sannyas. And of course, he couldn't take sannyas from Srila Maharaj because Srila Maharaj was too close to the family and he didn't want to give him sannyas. He was preaching to him, it's gradual. Sannyas is a gradual process, all this thing. So Prabhupada didn't take sannyas in 55, but that's when he was determined that he had to take sannyas. And then he left home and explained in Mula Prakriti's book that Prabhupada just one day, when he realized what was happening, he just packed up a dhoti and left, and he never came back home. And then, of course, he ended up taking sannyas in 1958. But so then, 11 years later, auspicious time, 1966. Prabhupada had been to come to the West in 65. In 1966, after a great struggle in the beginning, as Maliki would say, he started the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, even though it was only a handful of people. Very auspicious. And that vehicle of ISKCON formed Srila Prabhupada's movement to move Krishna consciousness all over the world. And so when he was telling them, what is this? They all said, oh, Prabhupada, 1977. This will be the year when you finish Bhagavatam? Prabhupada said, we will see. Krishna. So 1977 was the year Srila Prabhupada performed his pastime of leaving the world and giving to us the great responsibility of carrying on this incredible mission. So it says that the Parents' Day, Disappearance Day, there's no difference on the transcendental level. But we also know that the Disappearance Day gives us a chance to look back on such a great soul's life and see all of his accomplishments. So we only touched a couple of them based on Prabhupada's thing about the 11 years. Also, 11 years was like Prabhupada's also, he didn't mention it, but 11 years is what he used 11 years to spread Krishna consciousness, right? So 66 to 77. So we're fortunate on this day to remember Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Lalita Devi Das, please.
Namo Krishna Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Vishnu Ram Swami Namaste Saraswati Devi Namaste Shri Pashti Deshpande. I was invited to come to Vrindavan for the Gaurav Puja Festival, and I agreed because it was the 50th anniversary of my initiation. It's kind of hard to understand how you got to have that and when I joined in Montreal in '74, it was in the bowling alley, and we didn't stay there too long. And then he had a point where we were all praying for him, and if you so desire, Krishna, may you stay here. And to our great benediction, God to be with him and take initiation. But then when Prabhupada left, most of us didn't have any addresses or emails. And no one knew where we were. We had no way of getting in touch with people. We didn't know where we would go. In my case, the housing that was for the devotees was sold. So here we were, and we didn't know how to proceed. So many of us had to go back to school and get a way of making a living. And the fact is that I never considered myself a devotee. I considered Malati and Jayapataka Maharaj and Vishaka and Yadavar and the people that I would see, they were the devotees. Or Vishnu John, we listened to him all day long in the Montreal temple. And after many years, I had this experience where I was in a storm driving. I hadn't chanted for many years because I had started a business and had gotten married. And the fact is that during that storm, I was on my way to work on Sunday, and I hydroplaned down the highway. And the whole time the car was going over, I was saying, Krishna Chaitanya, Krishna Chaitanya, Krishna Chaitanya. And then I realized Prabhupada never forgets any of us. Krishna doesn't forget any of us. And he has unlimited mercy. Prabhupada distributed unlimited mercy to anyone and everyone. And over the years, I've learned to just use the word issues and compromised instead of finding fault. Everyone has something they're dealing with, but Prabhupada is always going to help anyone who reads anything that he has transcendently delivered to us all. And Krishna will make our journey completely altered by Srila Prabhupada's mercy. So that's my offering.
Srila Prabhupada ki.
Nityanandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chaksuva Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Tinam Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharani Nirvasesha Sindhurati Paskata Deshikandi Te Sam Satata Yuktanam Vajatam Kati Purvakam Tadami Budi Yogantam Yena Napanasita. Another year has gone by. Someone says now 47 years since Prabhupada went into the apricot spiritual world. And it's been nicely presented by some devotees that the spiritual master never leaves, even though he materially, his bhakti materially leaves from us. But the Vani remains with us. So I was thinking, generally, for me, whatever comes from my heart, I speak. So I was thinking, is Prabhupada giving me something to say today on his Disappearance Day? And I was wondering, they make nice poems, nice writing, so many different things. I can only speak from my heart. So I was thinking, what is this Gauravani? We say this in his pranam mantra. Namaste Gauravani. Right? What is this Gauravani? Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had 3 internal purposes and 2 external. 2 purposes that I'll speak, not the internal ones. He came to spread the yogic dharma, and he came to taste that devotional love that has been initiated by Srimati Radhika. Because he took that bhav and that form so he could understand that mood of service that she has. Because she was experiencing so much more than he was experiencing. He is the Supreme Lord. Yet he was more controlled by Radharani than he's controlled, the most beautiful of everyone, Lord Chaitanya, but still he is being controlled. Lord Krishna is still being controlled by Radharani. So he wanted to see, what is this mood? What is this love? What is it that she has that attracts me so much? How is she experiencing more than I'm experiencing? All of you who've read Chaitanya Charitamrita can get the understanding what Srila Prabhupada came to give us. This Gauravani was never given before. And so many avatars that came, and so many incarnations of Krishna, and all of the different avatars, many of them gave the holy name. Vishnu can give the holy name, but no one can give this mood, this love, this divine love. No one can give that, except Lord Chaitanya came to give, because he had also the mercy of Srimati Radharani. This bhav, this mercy comes from Radharani, and by taking her bhav, and he himself is Krishna, he was able to distribute this. And through his main practitioner of Lord Nityananda, he's also spread this unconditionally, without any qualifications, to all the fallen souls. And we are fallen souls, make no doubt about it. So Prabhupada, in that line, coming down in this line of disciplic succession, which are all manjaris in our line, make no mistake, all manjaris coming sent directly from Srimati Radhika. But Srila Prabhupada was also different. Not only did he take, as so far nice mentioned by the devotees, he took the mercy given to him by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta and took that order on his head, but also he got the mercy of Lord Nityananda. One of the ladies mentioned that, his Shaktavesh. Bhakti Raksha Sridhar Maharaj, he is the one coined Shaktavesh Nityananda, which means Srila Prabhupada
He was a devotee of Radharani. His father, Guru one day, said from the very beginning, please bless my son that he can become a devotee of Radharani. Every sadhu he met. Srila Prabhupada, from the very beginning, we heard Jaya Radha Madhava before every class. And that fourth stanza, Srila, is the highest devotion aspects being enunciated in that simple song. Jaya Radha Madhava. All the devotional principles were landed in. But not only that, he received the mercy of Nityananda. So by the mercy of Radharani and the mercy of Nityananda, he was able to unconditionally break open, like Nityananda Chaitanya, break open this love of Godhead to distribute to the fallen souls. We signed up for this, whether in previous lives or through the Agyata Sukriti that we received in this life, somehow or other, by many different means. In my case, a book fell on my head. Prabhupada's book. Somehow, whatever the scenario is, that we were called. And Srila Prabhupada used to say, my spiritual master, Bhakti Siddhanta, he has arranged all of you to come here. These all by his mercy have come here to help me in my service. And what is that service? If we have any compassion, any hope that all of us in this material world, we've gone through birth and death and old age and disease for how many millions of lifetimes? How many people are suffering out of ignorance that they don't know the feeling of love? We're all looking for love, right? That famous song, looking for love in all the wrong places. Well, that is us. We look for love in all the wrong places. But we were given a sample, a taste, a drop, a minuscule aspect of this love by Srila Prabhupada. Even though we might have even been looking for it, somehow or other, by his mercy, Srila Prabhupada has distributed in the hearts of all his devotees some particular part of his heart. That love that from Krishna, that he's extended, that he showed for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that he prayed to Radharani. One of my godbrothers in Atlanta, I was next to Prabhupada, which we had to do as one of his entourage. And one of my godbrothers was talking to a reporter, and he was talking about speaking to the deities, and no, he's not speaking to the deities. The deities that represent Prabhupada interrupted him. No, they're speaking directly to me. I'm hearing directly from them and speaking them. Chastise this devotee who was very prominent. Prabhupada was speaking to the deities. Those who had some association around them were practically seeing miracles daily. Whether it was on how he done the walks, when you see he would travel in Mayapur and ringing the bell and thousands of people were jumping up and down. But somehow or other, that little spark of love was transferred from Srila Prabhupada's heart into all of his disciples' hearts. And from his disciples, many of his grand disciples, and great disciples we're seeing that's going forward. So our business is somehow or other, most of us, we were the cannon fodder of the Krishna conscious movement. We had no qualifications. We were not born in a Brahminical family. We were not highly educated, though some of us were degrees and so. But what was our background? Hippies, so many different kinds of things. Revolutionaries like myself. So many different things were going. What was our qualification for prema bhakti, for the highest order of love of God? We had no qualification. That qualification, it was given by Srila Prabhupada. That is our qualification. Without Srila Prabhupada's mercy, none of us would be here. This temple would not be here. The devotees would not be here. The future would not be here. Lord Chaitanya is manifesting himself to be able to maintain all these things, despite all the difficulties, all of the demoniac activities, as Yudhishthira Prabhu was nicely commenting on, that are going on around us. Somehow or other, this movement is transcendental and eternal. Whether or not we understand that, whether or not we commit ourselves to the opportunity of serving Srila Prabhupada, however we can, in wrong Leela time, the little spider, sometimes called this, it was freaking little dust, what he could do. Hanuman would say, move, get out of the way, because they were throwing great stones and to make the bridge. But Ramchandra stopped him. No, he is doing as much more as you have been doing. So whether you're a pujari, whether you're a cook, whether you're a book distributor, whether you're a manager, whether you're simply trying to become Krishna conscious in your household and making good, then somehow or other our commitment to hearing sadhu sangha and chanting Hare Krishna is important. Prabhupada wanted this for everyone, that somehow or other we become the receptacle of mercy that He has given and give that mercy to others. And on this day, I am the core receptacle of my spiritual master, and somehow or other that I have no good qualities to be able to enhance his mission in a successful way. Not as worrying about the external part of the mission, but his internal mission. And our internal mission for all of us is to become Krishna conscious. We have to look in our own hearts if we want to be Krishna conscious or we want something else. So on this day, I pray that somehow or other that Srila Prabhupada, He gives me that sadhu sangha in this life or next life or how many births I have to take, that somehow or other I can become qualified to both serve Him and our Lord Chaitanya, and especially under the lotus feet of Srimati Radhika. Hare Krishna.
Srila Prabhupada ki. Thank you, Mahaprabhu.
Dear Srila Prabhupada, please accept my most humble obeisances on this day of reflection. What does this day of disappearance mean to me? In September 1973, I first met you and you asked me, what are your plans? Those days were only a dream to me at present. To see you physically and worship you personally seems so distant today. But when you appear in my dreams, it seems so real. So in my heart, you haven't left me. In your words, you have said, actually nothing in Krishna consciousness is an accident. But sometimes Krishna will put us in a seemingly unfavorable situation just to help us realize that He is the controller. So to accept any situation as Krishna's mercy is to advance in spiritual life. You just try your best to serve Lord Krishna. And if any perplexing circumstances arise, just pray to Krishna to give you strength. So when you asked me, what are your plans? I did not realize the extent of the question. But today I am before you with my answer. Krishna has His plans and we are only His servants. Thank you, Srila Prabhupada, for this gift of knowledge. Your servant, Bhagavadistam Devadasi.
Srila Prabhupada ki. Thank you, Lord. Yes, thank you.
short written homage that I wrote. Before I read that, I would just like to speak on something Bill Keesh probably alluded to when he gave his opening statement today, which we all kind of remember where we were and what we were doing when we heard the news that Srila Prabhupada had left his body. And for me, it's a very vivid memory. I was living on a farm in Wisconsin at the time, and I was sitting at my desk, and I had my seed cap open, and I was ordering my garden seed for the spring planting. And in front of me was a beautiful picture of Srila Prabhupada in a golden picture frame. Nervous speaking. And so I was busy with my order form, and then I heard my wife at the time. She was in the next room, and she called out. I think she was watching the news program, the morning news, and she called out that Srila Prabhupada had left his body. And I looked up at the picture of Srila Prabhupada in front of me, and then all of a sudden I just burst into tears, and I buried my face in my hands, and I was sobbing uncontrollably, rather. And I was sobbing for some time like that. And then finally I looked up, I wiped the tears from my eyes, and I looked up, and Prabhupada was still smiling back at me from his golden picture frame. And I had this kind of epiphany or realization that Prabhupada was still here. And that's stayed with me my entire life. I can see Srila Prabhupada in this picture. I see Srila Prabhupada in his murky form. Prabhupada is there in his bond, in his words, and he lives in the heart of his disciples. So, dear Srila Prabhupada, please accept my humble obeisances and my love on this auspicious day of your disappearance. With your arrival on the shores of America, you brought with you the shining lamp of knowledge, the wisdom of India, and the supreme, absolute truth. You appeared on the shores of America the way the sun appears on the eastern horizon, slowly revealing itself at first, then dominating the sky with its blazing effulgence, illuminating the entire world with its golden light. When there is light, there is no darkness, and wherever your words are being sung and repeated, there is a glimmer of hope for the materially conditioned souls. Your words and instructions are the very life and soul of a genuine disciple. It is said the best process for understanding Krishna is to hear of him, either from Krishna himself, as given in the statements from Bhagavad Gita, as it is, or from the self-realized pure devotee. One does not even need to change his worldly position. He simply has to hear the message of Krishna. It is from you only, Srila Prabhupada, that I know anything at all about Krishna or the spiritual world. By your grace only, the knowledge is revealed, and you become revealed to your disciples and listeners. Anyone who submissively hears from you, either by reading your books or hearing your lectures, can obtain the highest perfectional platform. Just as there is the sun and the sunshine, so there is Krishna and Krishna's pure representative. When we feel the sunshine, we know the sun is there. And when we hear from you, we know that Krishna is there. Your fallen servant, yes, Sandas.
Srila Prabhupada ki. Thank you for your responsibility.
I just want to first of all thank all of you for being here, and thank Jai Krishna and Gopesh for organizing this wonderful festival today. I'm so thankful that I could be here with you, because I'm at a time in my life where I don't live near a big community, and I miss that very much. And so thank you for allowing me to be here, and thank Krishna. And I can say to Srila Prabhupada for all the wonderful service that I've been privileged to do over many years, starting with my first day in Krishna consciousness in the Miami Temple, just cutting tomatoes for the Sunday feast. And I think all of us might remember our first day of service somewhere, maybe not here necessarily, but it's such a magical thing, and I felt that magic. And afterwards, moving here to New Vrindavan, been given so many different kinds of services, sometimes very challenging. I mean, life here in general was just very challenging because it was not easy, but that was also part of the joy of performing service, and that was really a basic principle of life here at New Vrindavan. And we were always reminding each other, and we were always being reminded that our service was important no matter what it was, from the smallest thing to the most important thing. It was all service, and it was all valued, and we felt valued as a community, individual members of this community. It was a very wonderful time. I do remember that I was here when Prabhupada left this world, and so getting that news here at New Vrindavan, we might have been slightly delayed because we were so remote. But that night, we all gathered at Prabhupada's palace, what there was of it at that time, and had an amazing, ecstatic kirtan, and in our sorrow and in our coming together, we somehow uplifted each other with this just fantastic kirtan. And the palace at that time was just a cinder block building, but the inside marble on the inside of the temple room had been laid, and maybe the baseboard also. But other than that, it was just cinder block building, and from that time on, it became the focus of this community to finish Prabhupada's palace and have it as a memorial for him. It started out as saying wanted to make a nice home for him to come, somewhere a retreat place where he could write and translate. And then when he left, he did actually say at one point to Kirtana that he was already living in his palace even before it was finished. But after he left, it became the sole focus of this community to finish the palace in 2 years. And we did actually manage somehow or other, by Krishna's mercy, to complete that goal, and saw that the palace opened in 1979. I guess it was the Labor Day weekend. I think we had that festival. And I have to say that I was privileged to be able to work directly on the palace for at least the last year and a half before it opened, and I did so many different kinds of things. Like everybody that lived here did an amazing variety of services in those days, but it was my favorite thing to work at the palace because I felt that amazing razor-sharp focus on Prabhupada. Every day I was able to go there and meditate on him, meditate on finishing the palace, meditate on our connection with him through service. It was just the best time of my life. So I thank Krishna for all of that. And it was, for this year for Vyas Puja, I composed a poem, something I've never done before. So I'd like to share that poem with you in closing. In our hearts, dear Srila Prabhupada, in our hearts you planted the seed. You gave us all that we need. You saved us from lust, anger, and greed. For your mercy we constantly plead. Gurudev, by your mercy we thrive. Without it we cannot survive. In your service pleasure we can derive. Following you into the bhakti ocean we dive. To you we pray, please never kick us away. Kindly allow us in your association to stay. By serving your servants day by day, we hope that our debt to you we might repay. Thank you again and again, Srila Prabhupada, for tolerating me and for your truly amazing personal sacrifices that you made in order to engage the living entities in the auspicious activities of Krishna Bhakti. You are simply wonderful, and by your grace, our lives have become simply wonderful. Your aspiring servant and daughter, Srila Devi Das.
Srila Prabhupada ki.
Hare Krishna, Jai Srila Prabhupada, Namo Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Prasthaya, Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namo, Namaste, Saraswati Ram Bharavani, Yes, the house was being described. Actually, it wasn't all about rosy. You know, in the 70s, many devotees around the movement were actually criticizing the devotees here in Vrindavan. They were saying, what are you wasting your time doing this for? Because Prabhupada's main mission was to get out the books. If you want to please Prabhupada, just get out the books. To build this in the middle of nowhere doesn't make any sense. And so the devotees were very critical at the time. That changed when the palace was opened and the media responded and the publicity the devotees were getting, and here in Vrindavan and the palace and so many people started showing up. So for me, New Vrindavan was a very exciting place. And listening to the devotees speaking, and also just the devotees listening as well, I'm amazed. I've always been amazed at what unique individuals each of the devotees are. You would think that joining a movement like this, you know, your individuality would become kind of homogenized and blend into things. But Prabhupada has just selected so many unique individuals to carry on his movement. And the more they're here, the more their individuality shines out, and it's very inspiring. So I'm very fortunate, I feel very fortunate to be here in Vrindavan and to have the association of so many wonderful, exalted, unique individuals. And I just wanted to finish by saying that this morning I read about the realizations that Professor Thomas Hopkins had about Prabhupada and about this mission. One thing I wanted to share with you about that in closing, because I was very struck that here Professor Hopkins, he identified 3 things that this mission was about. One is about the study of the Prabhupada's books. He's given us so many books Prabhupada has. And so this is an intellectual process to study the books. And the other thing is a mystical process, the meditation on the holy name of Krishna. How, you would think, well, how is this meditation, how are we actually connecting with Krishna? It's a mystical process. It's not comprehensible to the mundane mind. And the third thing that he also, Professor Hopkins also touched upon, was the practicality of the movement. And he was also saying that we're all individuals, we all have our own individual propensities, and so Prabhupada was so astute is to balance these 3 things out, the mystical and the intellectual, and utilizing our individual propensities, our individual nature, to find a place in the movement and to serve Krishna, serve Prabhupada's movement through our own unique propensities. So there's no place else that such a depth of philosophy and such a depth of understanding is available So I'm very, very grateful to be here. I'm very grateful to know all of the devotees. Thank you so much for tolerating me and allowing me to be here. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Srila Prabhupada ki.
Well, I'm just happy to be here, happy to see all of you, and so many things that other people said. I kind of would like to include, like, just feeling like so unworthy to have somehow or other, been able to come in contact with Prabhupada and to become his disciple. Like, I'm seeing more and more just what an honor that is. And I'm so thankful for the life that I've been given through his teachings and, just all the service that I've been able to do over the years. It's just